Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Hope you guys are all doing super well. So welcome to today's true crime video. So today we're going to be talking about what happened to 26-year-old Cynthia Martinez Perez. In July of 2017, Cynthia disappeared after attending a quinceañera. Now it's been almost 4 years since Cynthia was last seen, and we still don't have any answers as to what could have happened to Cynthia or where she is. This is a very sad and frustrating case, especially because the person of interest named in her disappearance is on the run. I hope by making this video we can bring more awareness to Cynthia's disappearance, more eyes to this case, and hopefully someone out there knows what happened to Cynthia and knows where this man is. I will link all of my sources in the description down below just so you guys can go check them out and read more about her case. So if I do make a mistake and I say something incorrectly, that of course is not my intention. So anyways, that's pretty much what we're going to be talking about in today's video. If you guys are new to my channel, welcome, bienvenidos. I hope you guys are able to subscribe down below before you guys leave so you guys can join the familia. Again, thank you guys so much for watching today's video and supporting this channel. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. Let's jump right into today's video. So Cynthia Martinez Perez was a mother of 4 from Tigard, Oregon that was born on July 13th. She was the oldest of 6, and she enjoyed spending time with her mother Angelica and her stepfather Cesar. They described Cynthia as being a very caring and cheerful person. She was always smiling, telling jokes, and laughing. She loved to laugh. Like, she had that type of laughter where you start to cry and your stomach starts to hurt. That's the best type of laughter. Besides telling jokes, Cynthia enjoyed listening to music, spending time with her sisters, and she would also make some really yummy shrimp dishes. Cynthia also loved tattoos. So she had a couple of tattoos on her body. She had a crown, she had the phrase trust no one, the name Dominguez, and the words trust and faith on her arms. So fast forward to July of 2017, Cynthia is now living near Woodburn, Oregon, and has just given birth to her daughter Sophia. Now Cynthia was a mother of 4 and she couldn't be happier. She always wanted a lot of children and she just absolutely loved her kids. She loved taking care of them, spending time with them, and everyone says that she was an amazing mother. After giving birth to her daughter Sophia, Cynthia was still on maternity leave from a clothing manufacturer shop that she worked at, but she was actually thinking of changing career paths once her maternity leave ended. She was planning on going back to school and studying to become a police officer. So definitely a drastic change in career paths. So then on Saturday, July 15th, 2017, Angelica and Cesar took Cynthia out to breakfast because 2 days earlier she had turned 26. So they took her out to this belated birthday breakfast and they took this photo of Cynthia smiling, holding her 2-month-old daughter Sophia, and she just looked very happy. Her family was very close-knit, so they loved to do activities together. So at breakfast, they were like, you know what, we should hang out again tomorrow. So they made plans to go hiking the following day at Silver Falls. Before breakfast was over, Cynthia asked her mom if she could watch her kids later that evening because she wanted to attend a quinceañera. I'm not really sure whose quinceañera this is. I wasn't able to find too many details as to why she was going to a quinceañera. But regardless, Cynthia really wanted to go to this party later that night, and Angelica agreed to watch her kids. Which, by the way, a quinceañera is kind of like a sweet 16 party, but you have it when you're 15. I kind of explained it in my last video, but it's basically just like a big party. So anyways, later that night, Cynthia started to get ready for the quinceañera. This was her first night out since she gave birth to Sophia, so she was super excited to just like be free, you know, go party for a bit and just have fun. She dressed up in black lace-up booties, she put on some false eyelashes, and wore a black flowered romper. She took a quick selfie and then headed out the door. At around 10:30 p.m., Angelica called Cynthia just to check up on her and see how the quinceañera was going. Cynthia said she was still at the party and was just waiting for them to cut the cake. Angelica was like, okay, that's fine, just keep me posted, and then they hung up the phone. Unfortunately, that would be the last time Angelica would ever speak to her daughter. Some time went on and Angelica never received another text message or phone call from Cynthia. She did think this was weird, but she didn't immediately freak out because maybe Cynthia's phone died. Maybe she was just having fun at the party and just like wasn't on her cell phone. There could have been a handful of reasons as to why she wasn't calling or texting them, so she didn't really freak out. I'm not sure if maybe earlier that day, Cynthia had told her mom that she wasn't going to come pick up the kids or that she was going to go sleep somewhere else. I'm not really sure what the arrangement was, but Cynthia never showed up to pick up her kids, and Angelica eventually fell asleep. The following morning, the family got up and started getting ready for their hike. Everyone was super excited to go on this big family hike, and once everyone was ready, put their gear on, they realized they were just waiting on Cynthia. So they waited for a little bit, but Cynthia never showed up. Her family thought that she might have just slept in, so they continued on with their day. However, as the day progressed, Cynthia was still MIA. This is when Angelica started to get a little bit worried because it wasn't like Cynthia to just not call anyone. Not check in on the kids, not check in on the family, or let them know like, hey, I'm not going to go to the hike tomorrow, I'm going to sleep in. It just was really weird that all day she hadn't contacted anybody. So Angelica calls up one of her other daughters to see if maybe Cynthia had contacted them, and they also haven't heard from Cynthia. Angelica started to call around a bit more, and that's when she found out that Cynthia never made it home last night. This is when Angelica started to get very worried, and she decided to contact the local Woodburn Police Department and report Cynthia as missing. However, the Woodburn Police Department wasn't that helpful, and they said there wasn't anything they could do since Cynthia was technically an adult. So she can disappear if she wants, she can go MIA if she wants. It didn't seem that big of a deal to them, but Angelica wasn't just going to wait around and let the police guide this investigation. She decided she was just going to go out there and start calling people and try to retrace Cynthia's last steps. So Angelica called around to a few of Cynthia's friends, and they told Angelica that at the quinceañera party, Cynthia had run into an old female friend, and they decided to go out to a bar after the quinceañera ended to celebrate Cynthia's birthday. So once the quinceañera ended, Cynthia and her friend headed to the Tequila Nights Bar and Grill on River Road North in Kaiser, Oregon. So Angelica and Cesar get into their car and they drive to this bar. Once they arrive to the bar, they immediately start asking the employees if they saw Cynthia the night before. The employees do confirm that Cynthia was there, but they said they didn't see anything out of the ordinary. It wasn't like she was drunk and stumbling around. It wasn't like she was doing something weird. She was just there hanging out, having a few drinks. Thankfully, the security cameras at this bar were working. Thank God. So they gave the footage over to Angelica and Cesar to review. So they're sitting there looking at this footage and they finally spot Cynthia. The footage showed Cynthia and her female friend arriving to the bar. They're just hanging out, having a few drinks. Everything seems normal. Since Cynthia's outfit didn't have any pockets, she gave her phone and her ID to her friend to hold for the night. After a while of hanging out, Cynthia's friend leaves the bar without Cynthia. I don't know what the reason was for doing this, but just some advice, you guys. Never leave your friend by themselves at a bar, even if they met some guy or, they tell you, oh, just leave, I'll find a way home. I feel like it's never a good idea. And of course, I don't want to blame the friend or anything, but it's just some advice that I go by. I always try to stay with my friends and make sure that either I'm not alone or they're not alone. But Cynthia noticed that her friend had left. So Cynthia leaves the bar to go outside to the parking lot to look for her friend. I mean, her friend is her ride home. Her friend has her cell phone and her ID. So Cynthia was pretty much stranded at this bar. After Cynthia goes outside to the parking lot to look for her friend, you see her walk back into the bar, but this time she's not alone. Now she's accompanied by two Hispanic males. You can see them inside the bar talking, and then at around 2:35 in the morning, which is closing time, Cynthia and the two men leave the bar. As they're walking outside the bar, you can see the three of them talking, and police and Cynthia's family assume that they were talking, and somehow it got out that they were also headed to Woodburn, which is where Cynthia lived, so she was kind of debating whether or not to ask them for a ride. So they walk out to the parking lot, and they walk towards this blue 2004 Honda Odyssey minivan that belonged to one of the men. Inside this minivan, there was a child's car seat, so police and the family assumed that Cynthia saw this car seat and thought to herself, okay, maybe this guy's a father, maybe he's an uncle. I mean, he has some type of child in his life, otherwise he wouldn't have this car seat. So because of this car seat, Cynthia asked this man for a ride home, and she got inside the minivan and they left. That would be the last time that Cynthia would ever be seen. I can't imagine how Angelica and Cesar felt watching this footage. I mean, imagine not knowing where your daughter is and then you find out she's at this bar, she's by herself, without a phone, miles away from home, and she gets into the minivan of these two strangers. So as soon as Angelica saw this footage, she took screenshots of the men and posted it on Facebook to see if anybody could help recognize who they were. Someone actually did recognize the man in the photo, and they identified him as then 30-year-old Jaime Alvarez Olivera. Then another person also recognized this man as Jaime, and they actually gave Jaime's address to Angelica. So Angelica heads over to this man's house. I mean, she's just doing this by herself, you guys. Police say that they're not gonna help because Cynthia is, over the age, so she's not a minor that's like on the run or, been kidnapped or something. So Angelica is doing this all by herself. So she heads over to Jaime's house, and when she pulls up to the house, the blue minivan is parked in the driveway. She walks up to the front door and starts knocking persistently until a woman finally opens up. Angelica asks this woman, listen, do you know this guy named Jaime? I need you to help me. And the woman says that she has no idea who this Jaime is. Angelica knew that something was off, so she continued to press the woman until this lady finally admitted that she did know who Jaime was and that he was her husband. Even though Jaime was her husband, she said she had no idea where he was, and that was pretty much it. She just slammed the door on Angelica's face. Angelica was not going to leave this man's house without any answers. I mean, the person that was last seen with her daughter lives in this house, has the minivan right there, and the wife is just uncooperating and trying to hide him. She just did not want to leave without any answers, so she continued to knock on the door and was just knocking and knocking and knocking until the lady finally called the police on Angelica. When the police arrived, Angelica told them the entire situation. They were like, listen, my daughter's missing. This is the man that was last seen with her. You need to help me get inside this house and look for him. However, the police were not helpful whatsoever. They were basically like, listen, we cannot help you because Cynthia disappeared in the Kaiser area, not in the Woodburn area. So you need to go contact the Kaiser Police Department and have them help you. So then Angelica gets back in her car and she heads over to the Kaiser Police Department. At this time, it's literally 2 o'clock in the morning on Monday. So she's been out searching all Sunday afternoon with no help, with police pretty much just telling her like, listen, go over here, go talk to that person. And now at 2 o'clock in the morning, she's finally at this police department, and thankfully the Kaiser Police Department got on this case immediately and they took it very seriously. It had been almost 24 hours since Cynthia was last seen, so police got on this. They were making missing persons flyers, they were going to talk to the employees at the bar, they were doing everything they could to figure out what happened to Cynthia and also trying to find Jaime. Once the police were on Cynthia's case, local newspapers, local news stations, national reporters, pretty much everyone around the area started to get wind of Cynthia's disappearance and were talking about it on television, which I thought was great that more people were talking about Cynthia's disappearance and providing this type of support and help to Angelica and Cesar. A random stranger even made a Facebook group called Missing Cynthia Martinez Perez, and in this Facebook group, people would post photos of Cynthia, photos of Jaime, and updates about this case. Angelica was super happy that someone had made this Facebook group because it made her realize that people did care about her daughter and that people wanted her to return home safely. The Facebook group is still active today, so I will have that link down below if you guys want to follow it so you can keep up to date on what happens with Cynthia's case. I'm so happy that Cynthia's family was having this type of support from the news stations, from this Facebook group, from reporters. I mean, this was just such a difficult time for Cynthia's family.
Family's broken up. Her children need her. We need her. And we're just asking for anybody with any information, please call the tip line. to call us, whatever feels comfortable. We just need our baby back.
Not only for Angelica, Cesar, her siblings, but also for her children. I mean, Sofia was only 2 months old and now her mother was just gone. I believe the oldest daughter of Cynthia was maybe around like 9 or 10 years old, so she kind of knew that something was going on. So while Angelica and Cesar are out there driving around trying to search for their daughter, they're also taking care of their 4 grandchildren, so they were just juggling so much, and I have no idea how they did all that, so I definitely admire them. Every single evening, Angelica and Cesar would go out, look at all the roads in the county, and try to search for Cynthia, but after a while, it just got so painful for Angelica because she would be super excited to get everything together to go search for her daughter, and then she would come back empty-handed. So it was just very painful for her, but she knew it had to be done. Meanwhile, the Kaiser Police Department are still searching for Cynthia, but they're also looking for Jaime. I mean, Jaime and this other guy are the last 2 people that could have possibly seen Cynthia, so they wanted to track them down, question them, and see what happened. Now, police were able to find one of the men that was with Cynthia that night, and his name has never been released to the public because he was cooperating with police. So this man says that he was with Cynthia that night. He actually lived in Kenzie, so he was dropped off first in Kenzie, and then Jaime and Cynthia left by themselves to Woodburn. This means that Jaime and Cynthia were pretty much by themselves, and I believe from Kenzie to Woodburn, it was like 25 minutes, 30 minutes. So they were pretty much just by themselves at 2:30 in the morning, alone, and again, they're strangers. They don't know each other. I mean, anything could have happened on this drive. Okay, so who is Jaime Alvarez? We don't really know much about him. What we do know is that he was last employed as a farm laborer who harvested berries, but he hadn't shown up for work in days. He also wasn't at home with his wife, so where was he? Police eventually recovered Jaime's minivan. It was parked outside of his ex-girlfriend's apartment, which is super weird. Police did look inside of the van, but they haven't released details as to what they found. Police were trying to see if maybe Jaime and Cynthia had some type of connection, but Angelica says that Cynthia does not know Jaime. She even called a few of Cynthia's friends to confirm this, and all of her friends were like, no, we have no idea who this Jaime guy is. Like, he's definitely a random dude that she met and asked for a ride. So police continue on with their search. They're trying to look for Jaime, they're trying to look for Cynthia, and 3 weeks after Cynthia was last seen, on August 9th, the Kaiser Police Department officially named Jaime as a person of interest. Not a suspect, a person of interest. Police believe that Jaime left the area on Sunday, July 16th, the day after Cynthia was last seen. We're not really sure if Jaime left the country, but there are a lot of rumors on social media that he possibly fled to Mexico, and police have not confirmed whether or not he did leave the country and if they're looking for him in Mexico. It's just really frustrating for Angelica and Cesar's family because they were there at his house on Sunday, July 16th, knocking while his wife was saying, oh, I don't know where he is, even though his car was parked in the driveway. When police arrived there, instead of going inside to search for Jaime, they basically told Angelica to leave and go to another police department. So maybe Jaime was hiding inside the house. You know, he could have possibly been there. So if police had entered that house that day or questioned the wife further, maybe they could have caught Jaime and he wouldn't be on the run today. I don't really know what happened to Jaime's wife. Like, was she telling the truth? Did she actually not know where her husband was? Or was she covering for him? I really hope she wasn't covering for him because that is just super messed up. I mean, this girl's mother is literally at your house begging you for help, and if you decide to cover up for your husband, I just think that is very wrong. Now, police have also not provided a motive for Jaime. Again, he's just a person of interest, not a suspect. But it's definitely just weird, and I definitely think that something happened along their drive. And that's pretty much it, you guys. That's pretty much all the information on this case. The Kaiser Police Department, the FBI, the Oregon Department of Justice, the Marion County District Attorney's Office, and other local law enforcement agencies have all been working together to help find Cynthia and Jaime, but neither one of them have been found. The Kaiser Police Department says they're still investigating Cynthia's disappearance, and there is an $8,000 reward from the FBI and an up to $2,500 reward from Crime Stoppers of Oregon for any information leading to the location of Jaime and the conviction of the person responsible for Cynthia's disappearance. Police are saying they want to speak to anyone who might have seen Jaime's blue 2004 Honda Odyssey minivan and maybe captured the vehicle on surveillance footage between Sunday, July 16, 2017 around 2:30 in the morning and Monday, July 17th around 11:45 a.m. I know it's been over 4 years and this happened in 2017, but if you guys remember seeing that van between those dates, please come forward and help the police department and help Cynthia's family. Every time Angelica hears that an unidentified body has been found in the area, she immediately calls the Kaiser Police Department and asks them if it's her daughter. The fact that Cynthia's body has never been found gives the family a little bit of hope that maybe her abductor still has her, maybe she's being held hostage somewhere, and that she will hopefully come home soon. Angelica is just a bit worried that police are eventually going to give up on Cynthia's case, and that it's going to turn into one of those cold cases that never gets closed, so let's hope that doesn't happen, you guys. Again, I'm hoping by making this video we can bring more awareness to what happened to Cynthia and hopefully keep her case and her name going. The family just wants Jaime's family to speak up. Angelica understands that maybe they're trying to protect Jaime because he is their family, but they also need to realize that if Jaime did do something to Cynthia, they should turn him in. They shouldn't cover up and help him get away with doing something so horrible.
Can you please call and let us know what he did with our daughter, or where he kept her, or what he's doing, you know, what he did to her, so that way we can have a peace of mind.
But if nothing else, just for the grandkids, for Cynthia's kids, because they've been left in limbo and they don't know exactly what's going on and they don't know when mommy's coming home.
So they're basically just pleading to Jaime's family that they do the right thing and turn him in.
He's the one that knows where she's at, what happened.
We know that he made it all the way to Molalla that night and then back to Woodburn where he's from. And then after that, he fled.
So a year after her disappearance, Cynthia's family met with members of the community and they decided to hold a vigil honoring Cynthia. The family couldn't believe that it had been an entire year since Cynthia was last seen, and they still didn't have any answers as to what happened to her. Then in 2019, Angelica did an interview talking about Cynthia's disappearance 2 years later. Angelica was sitting in front of a wall that had a bunch of photos of Cynthia and also some artwork that Cynthia's children had made. Angelica and Cesar are now the ones taking care of Cynthia's children. They kind of go between the grandparents and their own father. But they just say it's so hard because now the kids are getting older, they keep asking where their mom is, and they just don't know what to tell them.
You know, it's just very devastating telling our grandkids, you know, keep praying. We never want them to lose that hope, but they need their mom.
It's really sad because Sophia was only 2 months old when Cynthia disappeared, and now Sophia is older, she already started walking, and she already said her first words without her mom. It's just really hard for them, and I hope Cynthia's children and her family can have some type of answer soon as to what happened to her. As I mentioned earlier, the people in the community were very helpful and supportive towards Cynthia's family. In December of 2017, there was a bar in Salem, Oregon called the Rocco's Bar and Grill, where they hosted a gathering where people were drinking, they were eating, and they were leaving gifts under what's known as Cynthia's tree. These gifts were to help Cynthia's family, and they actually gathered over 100 gifts that went to Cynthia's children. And yeah, you guys, that's pretty much all the information we have on this case. Despite him not being named a suspect, I definitely think he knows something, and the fact that he fled and is just MIA and hasn't come forward definitely seems suspicious to me. Anyone having any information regarding to Cynthia's disappearance or to the whereabouts of Jaime should definitely contact the Kaiser Police Department. All of that information and their numbers and where you can contact them will be linked down below. Please make sure to share this video or share Cynthia's flyer just so we can get as many eyes on her disappearance as possible. I would love to know what you guys think. Do you guys think Jaime was involved? I don't know, you guys. It's definitely a weird case and it's just very sad that it's been so long and Cynthia still has not been found. But yeah, you guys, that's pretty much all I have to say for today's video. Thank you guys again so much for watching, and my thoughts and prayers go out to Cynthia's family. Please let me know what you guys think about this case down below, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys!